Hi there guys, my name is Kate and welcome to this channel. In this video I will share with you everything you ever wanted to know about 7-day Greek Isles, Turkey, Israel cruise with NCL. So it's a round-trip cruise from Athens to Athens. Here I will tell you everything about the boat, what it has to offer, restaurants, bars, entertainment, and of course the ports that we have visited, and some tips that I have learned along the way. So definitely stay tuned for that. So we're traveling with Norwegian Jade, a cruise ship for Norwegian Cruise Line. It has nothing to do with Norway, by the way. It's a US company. It was just founded by a Norwegian guy. Boarding definitely takes a while, so have a book with you. So a little bit about the boat itself. Registered at 93,500 tons, the capacity 2,400 people roughly, length around 300 meters, height 38 meters, was refurbished in 2022 and built in 2006 with a ship crew of 1,037 people. And our feeble attempts to save money, we actually ordered ocean view, just the window cabin, not a balcony one. Was it worth ordering a window? I don't know, you can hardly see anything from it because it's constantly bombarded with salt water. So I think without it altogether would have been fine. Last time around we had a balcony and it was worth it, I'd say, for the first time. But you know, most of the entertainment is outside of the cabin. It took us roughly 3 hours to board. We're finally on board. After a short intro, we're gonna start our journey. First dinner was in a complimentary restaurant. There would be 3 complimentary restaurants. This includes the buffet and then a couple of restaurants that are specialty dinings that you have to pay for. I would highly recommend having first and last day in the regular non-specialty dinings because they usually are really good on the first and the last day for whatever reason. Then we went for the show. And for drinks, there was live music and a couple of places. That's what we did, just to drink and some piano music. And we finished the evening with a bit of a sake. Now, I wasn't drunk, it's just I was looking from the camera, that's why I spilled the sake. And we went to Asian restaurant for like evening snacks. And definitely in cruising, you do want to eat a lot because I think part of the joy is just in eating a lot of. So this one's actually also complimentary. Took a evening stroll. It was quite stormy and we could see some lightning, which was beautiful. Then went again to atrium, asked a couple of questions. That's the main hall where the reception is, and that's where you can book the excursions. And we're ready for the next day in Kusadasi, Turkey. And the next morning we arrived to Kusadasi, Turkey. It's a famous sea resort town. We're not here for the beaches, however. We are here for UNESCO World Heritage Site, Ephesus. The ruins of Ephesus is one of the best preserved ancient cities in the world. It was built by Attic and Ionian Greek colonists in 10 BC, was famous for the nearby temple of Artemis. Roughly 550 BC was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. During the classical Greek era, it was one of the members of Ionian League, came under control of Roman Republic in 129, was destroyed by Goth in 263, afterwards rebuilt, but its importance as commercial center declined, and sadly in 614 it was destroyed by an earthquake. Today's city of Ephesus is a favorite destination of the tourists because of the breathtaking ruins and great historical and religious significance. Many historians believe, for example, that such biblical characters as Saint John, who wrote Gospels, he was here in Ephesus while he was writing it, and that Virgin Mary, when dying, he took her to the green hills above Ephesus. The most breathtaking sights in Ephesus would be Great Theatre, Celsius Library, and terrace houses. Majestic Celsius Library was one of the 3 largest ancient world libraries, holding 12,000 scrolls. Apparently was located across the road from a brothel. Of course, no one of those highly esteemed who frequented the library crossed that road. Never, not directly anyway. That would have been inappropriate. They actually had an underground passage leading to the brothels. It was just better that way. Recently most celebrated highlights of Ephesus is the terrace houses, sitting on the mountain slope, an ancient version of Beverly Hills, I would say. These belonged to the wealthiest citizens, floors and walls, mosaic depicting how rich people were. The courtyards were surrounded by the colonnade and paved with marble. The houses had running water, something that Europeans wouldn't see again until early 1800s. And then we finished with a bit of Turkish coffee. Not a big fan of Turkish coffee. If you have an option, go for Ottoman coffee. It's actually tastier. Returned to the boat by early afternoon. Had a little bit of a time by the pool. A little bit of a drink. It's actually virgin. Something virgin. No alcohol, not in the afternoon. Had a bit of an Asian food. A bit of a live music. Walking on the boat. The pool is actually really nice. There are a couple of jacuzzis. They're really quite relevant in the colder ports, and then in the warmer ports you spend most of the time in the pool. It's open until late in the evening, at least the jacuzzis were, which was lovely. Actually saw people hanging out there late in the evening, something I would recommend doing. Really good mojito bar if you have drinks included. Even if you don't, go for mojito bar. That was actually the best. The bartender was lovely. And finally, yeah, the dinner. This is again complimentary dinner. We only had one specialty dining that was included, and we were satisfied with the food enough that we didn't feel the need to pay for it. The food was actually really, really good in both buffet and non-specialty dinings, as far as I'm concerned. And then again, a couple of drinks. We did drink a lot. The next day we had day at sea, so basically there were no ports. And that's, it has its own charm. There's a lot of joy in just not needing to go anywhere. You can have your slow breakfast, which is exactly what we did. We had order breakfast, not the buffet one, and then we enjoyed the view. And here, tip number 2, try to do breakfast outside of the buffet. Then time by the pool, baking a little bit, getting that vitamin D. It was also not a very hot day, so jacuzzi was just what the doctor ordered. I really enjoyed it. As you can see, not very busy. Could actually be in jacuzzi alone, and by the pool it wasn't very busy. The boat was not filled to capacity, so that's the beauty of this kind of cruises. They're usually not very crowded. And there's some wine tastings and whiskey tastings and whatever, champagne tastings, so people are pretty people are pretty high, so that makes the whole environment very festive, I would say. And this time around we had a buffet lunch, and I love it because you can have a lot of vegetarian options there. And the beauty of it that it's on the highest deck. It's usually on the top deck, so you have an amazing view of the coastline if you are close to the port, or of the sea, just the sky. Well, outside of drinking and eating and enjoying the walks on the deck, there are a lot of activities such as games organized. We had trivia and we had a bunch of other things, which was actually super interesting. Then we went back to our favorite mojito bar, and there are 8 types of different mojitos, from ginger to raspberry. My favorite was raspberry one, too many others. Again, the Asian food, we had some sushi. And then we actually played trivia, which was super interesting. Just, answering the questions. We did fairly well. We didn't win, but we were decent competition. The show was actually very interesting. We had the Lord Nell, and that's the escape artist who does pretty amazing stuff. Tip number 3, bring all of your outfits, all of the best outfits, and all of the most uncomfortable, beautiful shoes that you have would be very much in use here, because to every restaurant or entertainment, there'll be 20 meters walk at most. The next day we arrived to the city, and that city was the reason why we chose this particular route. And first we're making our way to Bethlehem, a city in Palestine, about 10 kilometers south of Jerusalem. According to the Bible, this is the birthplace of Jesus. That's how Palestine looked when we were making our way to the Church of the Nativity. So Basilica of the Nativity has a grotto that has great religious significance to Christianity as a birthplace of Jesus. This grotto is the oldest continuously used place of worship for Christianity, is one of the oldest major churches in Holy Land. The church was originally commissioned by Constantine the Great shortly after his mother Helena's visit to Jerusalem and Bethlehem in 325. The original basilica was built roughly in 330. The experience of being here was very intense and very, very spiritual. I had a sense of bliss and calm that I have rarely experienced in my life. To me, at least, it was comparable to an intense meditation retreats that I've done in my life. Afterwards, we drove to Jerusalem. It was time for lunch, and oh my god, the food. Oh my dear god, the food. Israel has probably the best food in the world. I loved it. I had so much of it. It was unbelievable. I had I have had 2 plates like that. And I was planning to say something here, but then when I tried the food, I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna enjoy it quietly. And that's exactly what I did. I actually made a statement there and then that for food alone, if I could, I'd be ready to stay. Jerusalem is without a doubt a religious and historical epicenter of the world, a surreal, vibrant city, holy to followers of most major religions, Jews, Muslims, and Christians. In other words, holy to over 1/3 of the human population. No other city in the world can claim quite something like that. The old city of Jerusalem, 1 square kilometer walled area, is central to Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. There are 4 quarters in Old City: Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and Armenian. The city is believed to be continuously inhabited for over 5,000 years and considered to be one of the oldest cities in the world. The word Jerusalem means foundation. The city is located in Western Asia, Judean mountains between Mediterranean and Dead Sea, and today both Israelis and Palestinians claim Jerusalem as their capital. Throughout its long history, Jerusalem has been destroyed at least twice, besieged 23 times, captured and recaptured 44 times, attacked 52. If anything, it's not a boring history. Yuval Noah Harari, an Israeli historian and one of my absolute favorite authors, lives here and is professor at Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Here we visited the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The church in the Christian quarters of the old city of Jerusalem dates back to 4th century, contains 2 of the holiest sites in Christianity: the site where Jesus was crucified at the place known as Golgotha, and the place where Jesus' empty tomb was found after the resurrection. Each time the church was rebuilt, some of the antiquities from preceding structures were used in new renovation. Within the church proper, there are last 4 stations of the cross of the Via Dolorosa, representing final episodes of Passion of Jesus. The church has been a major Christian pilgrimage destination since its creation of the 4th century. Traditional site of resurrection of Christ, thus the original name of the church, Church of Anastasis, or Church of Resurrection. The Roman Emperor Constantine I converted to Christianity and had Temple of Venus in Jerusalem demolished to make way for this church. In the course of the demolition, tomb was discovered that was thought to be the tomb of Jesus. And yet another of my useful tips: when choosing the tour, make sure that the tour would include the panoramic view of Jerusalem, because that was the most magnificent, unbelievable, and breathtaking views that I've ever seen in my entire life. And now back on the boat, getting ready for the show. This was actually the best show, to my opinion, on the boat, and that was by the winner of the European Idol or American Idol. It was fantastic. The singing was absolutely amazing. The next morning we were already in Tel Aviv, and here worth mentioning how amazing it is to be in the next destination miraculously without needing to figure out the transportation, checking in, checking out, and the rest. Had a lovely comfortable breakfast, took a tour to Tel Aviv, and really enjoyed it. Great coffee, great food, great city. Actually reminded us of Singapore. We'll tell you more of why later. So Tel Aviv Yafo, often referred to as simply Tel Aviv, one of the most popular cities in Israel, located in Israeli Mediterranean coastline, and a population of roughly 500,000, economic and technological center of the country. City apparently has the highest cost of living in the world, and I said Zurich was expensive. Apparently Tel Aviv is more. Tel Aviv receives over 2.5 million international visitors annually. Tel Aviv has been named the world's vegan food capital, as it has the highest number of vegans per capita in the world, with many amazing vegan restaurants. It's again one of the reasons I wanted to stay when I was in Israel. The city was founded in 1909 on the outskirts of the ancient port city of Jaffa, or in Hebrew, Yafo. Tel Aviv for some reason reminded us of Singapore. Civilized, clean, hot, plenty of palm trees, skyscrapers, and great food. Then we visited Jaffa, or Yafo. It's Israel's most ancient city, inhabited for over 7,000 years. Can you guess, by the way, the biblical figure that Jaffa was named after? A hint sounds like Yaf. The legend goes that the city was named in honor of the original founder, Japhet, one of the Noah's 3 sons who founded the city after escaping from the flood. There are lots of great things in Jaffa. It really is stunning. I loved walking there. You'd probably really enjoyed walking in the narrow alleys. There's a lot of galleries and small coffee shops, local hotels. It really has an amazing location on top of the hill, overlooking Mediterranean Sea with natural harbor and fertile soil. No wonder Jaffa has been the hottest piece of real estate and everyone was after it. It was conquered and then reconquered and then reconquered some more by Canaanites, Phoenicians, Pharaohs, King David, Assyrians, and more. Since its restoration has become a very popular tourist attraction, Jaffa really is a melting pot of so many different nationalities, predominantly Jewish and Arab populations, and Jaffa actually has very different feel. On one end of it, it's very busy market-like, and on the other end of it, where we're right now, it's like this very luxurious resort town. I loved wandering in Jaffa. That was amazing. The parks were beautiful. And back on the boat, we've decided to have dinner outside, which is another great privilege. We were having dinner open air on 11th floor, roughly, rooftop bar, if I may, overlooking the 3rd largest city in Israel. So not too bad at all. Buffet was actually really nice. A lot of options. Really good food, and every day is different. They have themes. Usually it's related to the location, so it'd be Israeli food technically here. This time I think it was barbecue, but they change it every day, so keep in mind, check it, what themes are for the buffet. If it's your cup of tea, then go for the buffet. Again, joined one of the games, majority rules, where you're supposed to guess what majority would have guessed, what would have been the average answer in the room. Then we went for a great show, Palace of Lights, which was actually really good. I would say on the smaller boats, shows are not as good as they are on the bigger boats. So if you really are after the shows, go for the bigger boat. I will make a separate video about do's and don'ts for the cruises. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, click that button. Cyprus, a golden green leaf thrown into the sea, a land of wild weather and volcanoes, in words of Greek poet Melanes. Cyprus has it all: mountains, fertile valleys, and gorgeous beaches. Settled for more than 10 millennia, Cyprus is a cultural, linguistic, and historic crossroad between Europe and Asia. Its chief cities are Nicosia and Limassol. Today we're going to visit Limassol. Both have absorbed the influence of generations of ruthless conquerors, courageous traders, and curious travelers. Island managed to be both cosmopolitan and provincial, favored by honeymooners as legendary home of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love. According to one legend, these rocks are the site of birth of the goddess Aphrodite, perhaps owing to the foaming waters around the rocks. As legend goes, Gaia, Mother Earth, asked one of her sons, Cronus, to mutilate his father, Uranus, perhaps misbehaving father. Cronus cut off Uranus' testicles and threw them into the sea. A white foam appeared from which a maiden arose. The waves first taking her to Cyprus, maiden was named Aphrodite, went to the assembly of gods from Cyprus. Romans widely referred to her as Venus. Local myth goes that a person who swims around Aphrodite's rock will be blessed with eternal beauty. Cyprus has a long history of settlement dating back to Neolithic times. By sometime around 1400s BC, Mycenaean Greeks immigrated to the island from Near East, and for the next 25 centuries, foreign rule dominated over the island. After a long period of Ottoman occupation, Cyprus became a crown colony in 1878 and gained its independence from the UK in 1960. Despite a constitution which guaranteed a degree of power sharing between the Greek majority and Turkish minority, two populations with backing from the respective governments clashed vehemently in 1974, resulting in occupation of 40% of the island by Turkey. To this day, there is a border running on the island separating the Turkish and the Greek side. I haven't had much on the island, but did have a cup of coffee, which was really, really, really good. In the afternoon, returned to the boat, spent time in the jacuzzi, in the pool. Now we're coming closer to the end of the cruise. So now there's a lot of parties organized. So we've been dancing by the pool, which was super fun. Yes, this is the example of how I was dancing by the pool. Then again, took a walk. We started taking off back to Greece, to Santorini. And we finally had our specialty dining. We chose La Bistro, which is a French restaurant, which was amazing. I had a bunch of great cakes. I ordered myself a chocolate mousse, and the world just disappeared with the first bite. I sort of zoomed out and had a bit of an affair with that cake right there and then. It was really good. Enjoyed whiskey tastings, which was really, really good, where 3 different types of whiskeys were paired with cheese, chocolate, and dry fruits. And it was really interesting experience, and an expert on the matter was actually guiding us through the experience. We had a really good show. The show was super fun. It was with Lord Neil, the escape artist, and the local cruise troupe. They organized a really good show. I actually really enjoyed it. And then there was a party in white. So we stayed up, I don't know, until like 2 o'clock in the morning and really enjoyed it. And the next day we arrived to Santorini. We are in one of the most beautiful sites, Santorini, Greece. Classical Greek name is actually Thera. The island in southern Aegean Sea. It's the largest island of the small circular archipelago that bears the same name as the remnant of Caldera. The island was the site of one of the largest volcanic eruptions recorded in history, known as Maionian eruption, which occurred about 3,600 years ago during the height of Maionian civilization. Santorini's volcano is one of the few active volcanoes in Europe. Santorini came into existence as a result of intensive volcanic activity. 12 huge eruptions occurred, one every 20,000 years approximately, so we still have quite a bit of time to go before the next one, I hope. And it was so violent that it caused the collapse of volcanic central part. The volcano, however, managed to recreate itself over and over again. First we're making our way to a very, very beautiful picturesque winery where we are trying 3 different types of wine: white, red, and dessert wine. All 3 were really, really good. I'm more into dessert wine, so for me the third one was the tastiest. We also were provided with all sorts of snacks, an amazing view. Oh yeah, straight out of a postcard. Certainly the most picturesque village in Santorini, if not in whole of Greece. Located on the western side of Santorini, with its charming cube-like houses, colorful facades, perched high on the edge of the cliff, around 150 meters above the sea level. Very, very impressive, overlooking the volcano. Oia is the most visited village in Santorini, and it's recently started looking more like a glamorous town rather than a village. Every day, thousands of people gather here longing to see the famous Oia sunsets. The first settlements date back several centuries and likely was built in 15th century on the ruins of Venetian castle. It has become globally famous for its authentic beauty and whitewashed houses, labyrinth-like alleys, amazing hotels, blue domes, and magnificent sunsets. What impressed me the most were the colors, the absolutely amazing, stunning, contrasty colors, the blue, the white, and the bright pink and orange of the flowers. I had a cup of coffee and a local Greek dessert during the sunset, so I had a chance to enjoy all of the best that the life has to offer. The coffee, the dessert, and the sunset. But oh my god, the sunset camera does not, I repeat, does not give it justice. You have to come there yourself. After the sunset, we returned to Fira, the capital of the island, the largest town here, and again saw amazing remnants of the sunset with our boat. Actually, you can see our cruise ship right there. And yeah, had a chance to listen to the local music. Now returning back to the boat for our dinner. This is our final day. So we had a non-specialty dining, as I suggested. Remember, on the first and on the last day, do not take specialty dining because the rest of the complimentary dining is usually really, really good. Then again, we had a great show. Every night there were shows, and this is an amazing part of it. The next morning we were in Athens, and that's all for the cruise. Thank you so much for joining. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to put the like. Check out my other cruise videos. There's another Mediterranean cruise video. Check the link in the description below. Thank you for joining and see you soon.